Hey kids, it's cartoon time in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Today, we're looking at a much maligned, in my opinion, cartoon from 1967 called Super President. Okay. All right. I know. I get it. Sounds stupid. And it maybe is a little stupid. But there's actually some cool stuff here. So I want to talk about this little film, or this little cartoon. A lot of it seems to be lost. You can find clips on YouTube. I found one full episode on YouTube that I grabbed some of these images from. This is not like restored. It's a little bit washed out. It's sad, but did the best I could. So we could take a look at this cartoon that gets made fun of, but I think really, deserves a little bit better than that. Super President. First thing I'll point out, love the friggin' logo. I want that like on a shirt. I think I need to try to retrace it though, so I could get it looking good. Because I think I love it. Very 60s. This actually a lot of cool design, a cool style to this cartoon. And that's not actually that surprising. It's done by Depatie-Freleng, probably best known for the Pink Panther, which was an extremely stylish cartoon from the period. Obviously, the Freleng in that is Friz Freleng of Warner Brothers fame. Again, just really cool. This is from the opening. You got this amorphous thing that appears, hate, evil, fear. It's this monstrous looking thing, and flying at it is Super President. So what's the story behind this character? And I would like to see this character make a return, maybe in comic books or something. I think if somebody took it about 75% seriously and 25% tongue-in-cheek, it could be a really cool, fun series. So our hero is James Norcross. He was an astronaut who was caught in a cosmic storm, and as a result gained superpowers. And he goes on to be elected president of a modern democratic nation, which may or may not be the United States. And that's kind of one of the interesting things. It's the U.S., but it's not quite the U.S. It's kind of like, the way DC Comics has a United States of America, but it has a metropolis and a Gotham City. It's like this alternate universe, United States of America. You'll see as we go through why I say that. So he gains these superpowers, becomes president of the United States, and continues his fight against crime while being president. I don't know if anybody actually ever refers to him as Super President in the series. I don't recall, but because you're kind of going, okay, well, that's not the greatest secret identity in the world. There's a limited number of presidents, and well, gee, he sure sounds like the guy on my TV who's the American president. Okay, I don't know that he's ever really called Super President, other than it being the title of the cartoon. Like I said, very stylish. I love, this is a title card for the Gravity Destroyer. This is the aforementioned Gravity Destroyer, big robot. He's fighting like big, giant, crazy robots. He's fighting, in this one, some pirates, high-tech pirates. He's fighting aliens. It's pretty standard fare for the time. He's assisted by his chief of staff, Jerry Sales, has the crew cut the pipe. He's one of those Ivy League men. Perfect representation of the sort of government policy wonk of the time period. I give them actually an immense amount of credit for that. And those two, and he really is sort of the sidekick, even though he doesn't really he's not fighting or anything, but he's just sort of there in his suit, mind you. He doesn't have a costume, advising the super president as he goes off on adventures. Oftentimes he uses his Omni car. He also has a jet belt sort of thing that lets him fly. And you can see behind him is the White House. So this isn't the White House we're aware of. There's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a big office building behind it or what, but there's caverns underneath, and that's Super President's headquarters. And so they rush off, and here these are the minions of the gravity destroyer. And so the full episode has some awesome commercials included. That was one for a giant Three Musketeers bar, which I would have really, really loved when I was a kid. Sorry. Anyways, each episode you get two probably 8-minute episodes of Super President, and in between them, Spy Shadow. Now, another actually really cool concept. Spy Shadow is voiced by Ted Cassidy. He's actually Secret Agent Richard Vance, who is trained in Tibet to be able to separate his shadow from himself, and his shadow, he can then order his shadow to do things. And so since it's a shadow, it can, I think, physically move objects, but it also can sneak into things. And he's only powerless in the night. And that's the title card for this one, the Bandit Gambit. They're dealing with this, sort of a Fidel Castro type in South America. And there you see our agent with his shadow. It's a really interesting concept. I think that you could really do something cool with it in a comic book or something. This sort of, I don't know, it's not like an astral form, but it's almost like that. Fun with the Ted Cassidy voice too. And there you see some more of the style of this cartoon. Very stylish, much more so than a lot of other stuff, and pretty typical of Depatie-Freleng. Other commercial. This one got me. It's, okay, so, they got the Easy Bake Oven from back in the day, right? Where you bake cakes using a light bulb. Okay, awesome concept. Iffy baking. My daughter had one back in the day, and, it wasn't the best little cake that I ever had. I wanted one of these when I was a kid, though, because I was like, dude, I can make all the cake that I want in my room. Apparently I didn't realize you needed to actually have a mix and okay. Apparently, though, they tried to come up with other things they could use light bulb power for. And so they came up with these hair curlers for little girls that you put them in this into the little dude there, and the light bulbs inside, and it would warm them up. And so it's this whole thing with this girl rushing into her house, and her sister's like, "You're going to be late to the party. You'll never get your hair done in time." And it goes like, "Yes, I will." And she runs up and she's using this little thing. And then you see her at a party and she's dancing with her friends, and her hair is and all the other girls are like, "Oh my God, her hair is gorgeous." And I was like, oh wow, man, that's a cool concept. The light bulb for the hair curlers. I like the idea that somebody at company headquarters was like, the Easy Bake Ovens are doing well. We need something else. And this is what they came up with. Back to the president and the pirate. But so the superpowers that Super President has, and this is one of the things I like about the character, because so many of these sort of, you got the superhero craze happening with Batman. And it's also about the time that Marvel Comics is starting to explode and all this stuff. Superheroes were big. But a lot of the sort of off-brand superheroes that you got very often were just Superman. I mean, they vaguely had flight and super strength or something, and bullets would bounce off of them, and not really that interesting. Now, this guy, okay, he has the flight from the flight belt, but his special ability is he could rearrange his molecules to become any substance. He still can move around and stuff. So he can become steel. He can become granite. He can become electricity. He can become like a gaseous form. And I'm going, that's a really great superpower. That's a really great character. Why is this character getting made fun of? This is smarter than a lot of the other stuff out there. And along with Spy Shadow, this is actually some really good stuff. This one, you got some, a monster. You got these high-tech pirates. It's like an old-fashioned pirate ship, but they have lasers and stuff, and this secret island. And anyways, The adventures are okay. They're not the greatest things in the world. It's pretty standard fare for the time. Tune in next week. Look at that. That's so cool, man. I love the design. Some great directors on here with a lot of experience from a lot of different things. I'll point out especially Robert McKimson, who, one of the greats from Warner Brothers, did some absolutely classic Foghorn Leghorns. I'm actually kind of going, oh, dude, this dude's being totally wasted on a cartoon like this. McKimson was capable of so much more. But Oscar Dufault did the Jetsons. He was later on Smurfs and Snorks. Earl Klein worked for Fleischer on Popeye, did some Warner Brothers stuff. Edwin Rayberg, longtime animator, worked for almost everybody but Disney. He didn't like Disney, and Disney didn't like him. George Singer worked on Bullwinkle, Transformers, did some Hanna-Barbera stuff as well. Art design done by Art Leonardi, another Warner Brothers guy, but also did Pink Panther. And I recognized his name mostly from doing direction on Tiny Toon Adventures in the 80s. And I think, look, it's not Alex Toth level design, but pretty good. Love the red-white color scheme, atomic symbol on the chest. Let's be honest, man, not terribly different from, say, Space Ghost. But again, maybe not quite to Toth. I'm pronouncing it wrong. You know, it's one of those names that you saw as, a kid, and you say Toth, and then you find out later on it's Alex Toth. I apologize. I just going a mile a minute. It's not quite up to Toth levels of creation, but good, and a good solid design for a cartoon. It's not too complex. It's something that you can animate. The animation is not spectacular in this cartoon. It really isn't. It's not horrible, but it's not spectacular. And that's one of the dings against it. It got a little bit of merchandise. This is from Ben Cooper. They basically repurposed an old Flash mask and then gave it the wrong colors and put Super President on it. They didn't try too hard. The cartoon did not do super, super well. It got 30 episodes from 67 to 68, and that was it. But I got to be honest with you, if you've watched the Justice League cartoon from back then, aside from being narrated by Ted Baxter, it's not that great, honestly. And in terms of design, the Pinhead people and the Bean people coming together, it ain't that much better than Super President. I'm sorry to tell you. I'll say it's a little better, but it's not that much better. And if you really need a reason to embrace Super President, it was attacked by critics and TV watchdog groups of the day, including Action for Children's Television and the National Association of Broadcasters. You get ready, folks. Get ready. This is the quote. An all-time low in bad taste with the President of the United States in a Superman role. NBC was responsible for this direct ideological approach to totalitarianism. We fear that there may be other broadcasters who are irresponsible enough to keep it in circulation. Totalitarianism. Dude has superpowers and he fights evil. Folks, the Karens are not new, and they have always been morons. What pretentious ass wrote that and was proud of themselves? That's something that put on like friggin' Twitter in this day and age would probably get ratioed to hell. Direct ideological approach to totalitarianism. Good Lord. So if you don't love it for its own merits, love it for who hated it. The cartoon got a bad rap. I think there has a lot of potential from a character standpoint. Imagine, put it even in the modern day, you got this guy with superpowers who's trying to continue to fight world-threatening evil while also being the president of the United States. And you could have like a fun action-adventure aspect to it, along with maybe a little bit of political satire if it kind of hits everybody equally where they should be hit. Pretty cool. And if you have Spy Shadow as a backup, or even, hey, he's like a secret agent, right, for the United States. So maybe he works for this guy and doesn't know it. These are great character concepts, to be honest with you. And it's too bad they couldn't have done more with them back in the day. But this is me sort of, hey, saying, go check out Super President. Give this poor cartoon a chance. It is not as bad as people are saying it is. And it actually, to me, has a little bit of potential. It could have been pretty cool if it had maybe a chance to grow. If even the people who created it weren't like, kind of sucks. But I think it's better than people think it is. And I'm gonna stand by that. What's his name? James Norcross. I salute you. You have my vote. You deserve to be more than a one-termer. Well, that's my show for today. Have you ever seen Super President? What do you think? Do you think it has potential, or do you think I'm out of my mind and this thing is really just as bad as everybody else says? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I don't know that I'll argue too hard with you one way or the other. But all I can say is I found it charming, and it has a little place in my heart. And I'd love to see some real solid comic book writers and artists do something with old James Norcross and Super President and Spy Shadow. Until next time. Oh, hey, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, share. It helps me out. You don't have to. Do what you want to do. Because we're all Americans here. Well, we're not all Americans here. There's people from all over the world watch this channel. Not very many, but a few people from all over the world. But Super President is American, and he wants you to be free to like and subscribe if you want, and not like and subscribe if you don't want. It's the American way. But until next time, God bless everybody. Be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Go check out Super President, and I will see you again, hopefully soon, on at Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.